I want to discuss about boxing in 2022. A lot of stuff is going into the year with a lot of toxicity, a lot of bickering around, a lot of gossip, and nothing much going on in terms of progress with boxing at all. Besides very slow momentum, like sometimes they juice everything out at the very end of the year while they starve us out the entire year, if y'all haven't noticed that. But nothing much going on early next year for 2022. You got the rematch for the supposed undisputed title at 154 pounds. And then you have a lot of issues going on in the lower weight classes with the lightweights. And it's made me not want to see anything to do with the lightweights for the past couple years. Because even before everybody started talking about the lightweights recently, I stopped talking about them. I stopped paying attention to them even when even before when they came into the picture, like Devin Haney, like Teofimo Lopez, like Ryan Garcia. Nah, man. Like even before they came into the picture, when Lomachenko was still holding the belts, because he's on some fuck shit too. So, um, I hold. Well, I mean, I don't really like pay attention to them too much, but if they were all to fight each other, I still think that one of them is going to be the last one standing. And to me, in my opinion, is going to be either Javante Davis or Devin Haney. That's just my opinion, but they got to fight each other to sort that out. And obviously, you had George Camboso's not stopping, but dominating Teofimo Lopez. And that really did stagnate a lot of stuff for Teofimo Lopez, like all the stuff that he was talking and like what his father was talking about, what everybody else was talking about. This whole following, man, like because of the whole franchise and starting to put in this like delusion and putting in this false sense of reality about being the undisputed champion prematurely when you aren't the undisputed champion because the own sanctioning body, the WBC, doesn't even know their own rules, and neither do the sanctioning bodies like recognize the franchise title as an undisputed title. So it's a lot of stuff going on. It's horrible. Excuse me. I'm not even gonna debate it. I'm not even gonna uh, go further into it. It just needs to sort itself out because it's like what Devin Haney said, and you gotta agree with this. You can't be undisputed if there is a dispute. And that is a major dispute going on right now in boxing that nobody wants to talk about. Everyone just wants to gloss over it and be like, oh, wow, yeah, he is undisputed because the WBC says so. All of that other bullshit. So that's just me. And I don't think it's going to get any better that Lomachenko wins all the titles like if he's going to fix the division. And he's the reason why this whole mess started in the first place because of the franchise title. Because remember, he did petition for it. So that's why I don't really pay attention to 135 anymore. And it's not just coming from my generation of my age of fighters. It's coming from the older age as well, like Lomachenko. Like who else was there? Well, nobody else was there besides Lomachenko winning the world. Well, Mikey Garcia. Yeah, fuck it. Throw Mikey Garcia in there, man, because Mikey Garcia fucked it up. Because he didn't chase undisputed against Lomachenko. He just decided to go up and wait and fight Errol Spence, which was stupid as fuck. So yeah, might as well throw his ass in there. But nothing much going on at 135 pounds besides some bullshit right there that I just described. And it's just gonna go over people's heads anyways, because they're stupid as fuck and they don't want to accept the reality for what it is. But hey, it is what it is. I'm not gonna try to change another man's perspective, but at the same time, you're not gonna change my perspective as well. Like on the fuck shit that I'm seeing actually right now that's happening, which is making me kind of stay away from the sport. But at the same time, I'm still gonna watch it. I'm not gonna have no qualms about it because boxing is real hard for me to stay away from. Especially if there's a decent fight going on, like at 154 pounds, that rematch with Castaño. I'm glad that he was able to actually make that rematch because My fear about Jermell Charlo was that he would actually chase after Jarrett Hurd after getting into that little confrontation at the Canelo fight with the Canelo Plant fight. And Jarrett Hurd and the Charlo brothers were going at it, and that's what I was thinking. Oh God, man, I hope he doesn't do that fuck shit and go after Jarrett Hurd instead of chasing a rematch with Castaño. So I'm glad that Jermell Charlo is able to do that. Either ways, he's all about the smoke. But he almost had me with that fuck shit, I'm not gonna lie, but that doesn't matter at this point. It's happening in February, so I'm glad that's happening too. And let me see what else is going on. 160 pounds, you got some fuck shit going on there too with Golovkin. Golovkin's not even gonna fight Murata anyways, because of that whole issue that's going on in the world. We have like a new added issue going on with the current world situation. So based on that fight isn't happening. And if you want my take on that, I think he should fight Demetrius Andrade. That fight actually makes the most sense right now since Canelo is on a fight by fight based contract with different types of promoters, whether it be Eddie Hearn, the PBC. I don't know or remember the details too much, but I don't think I want to see a Canelo trilogy with Golovkin. And keep in mind, like, I actually thought that Golovkin won one of those fights, and I thought the first fight, believe it or not, was a draw. So, hey, it is what it is. I just think that Canelo would beat his ass, this time around. And Canelo's a much better fighter, and you see the improvements in every fight by fight basis that he's in. Like not just since the Floyd fight, but in the Golovkin fight too. So, yeah, man. Like, I mean, if Golovkin is gonna be chasing down Canelo, he might as well take out Demetrius Andrade. Like, I actually give him good odds to do that fight, but at the same time, he doesn't want to do that fight because he sees there's a high risk in it, that he's gonna look bad and that his stock is gonna go down. I mean, I think personally they're gonna rob his ass anyways. So if they're gonna rob Demetrius Andrade, why the fuck is Golovkin very hesitant about taking that fight? Because he is in a partnership with DAZN. He does have equity in the company, so why can't they do their little quote unquote magic and get themselves a decision against Demetrius Andrade? But Demetrius Andrade is a very dangerous opponent. Let's keep that in mind because the guy is very skilled. The guy understands how to dictate range, but he has a lot of mistakes too that I think a guy like Canelo, I think a guy like Golovkin can still capitalize on, even if Golovkin is like older and he's not like the same as he was like a couple years back, like in 2016, 2015, around there. I still think that he could capitalize on those mistakes with Demetrius Andrade. I mean, you got Jamal out there, but Jamal doesn't really do nothing like his brother. I think it's his older brother Jermell, because I think Jermell's a little bit older by like a minute or two than his brother Jamal. So I think Jermell is a lot more willing to fight top level opposition than Jamal. In my opinion, of course, I could be wrong, but he's got to do the work. You know what I mean? He's got to put it in. He was already going off in a good start by fighting Derevyanchenko, but that momentum just like dissipated, so he's gonna have to do something about that, man, but I give Golovkin good chances of beating these guys, but at the same time, like, politically, I think that's what's gonna save him. It's not gonna be his skill set alone, and I think he's still gonna have a questionable win over one of those guys at least, whether it be Andrade or Jamal Charlo. So yeah, I like Golovkin for some of those fights, but at the same time, man, like, he's getting older, so something could happen, and then like Andrade sneaks one in, or Jamal sneaks one in, which is more likely Jamal, because Andrade doesn't really have that much power. He's not known as a dynamic puncher, so if Charlo sneaks one in on Golovkin, that would just like destroy everything for him. That would just force him into retirement. That would just destroy any chances of a Canelo fight, well, Canelo trilogy. So that's why I think he's very hesitant about taking these fights. So hopefully we get that Demetrius Andrade fight, because I think that's a very good fight. I've been wanting that fight for years. It's actually made the most sense ever since like both fighters were on the same network the whole time. So yeah, man. I mean, that's what I think about it. But what else is going on? 168. I mean, Canelo's undisputed, of course. So whatever defenses he wants to make, I think he should make some defenses there. And you got light heavyweight and you got cruiserweight. Nothing much going on around there. I mean, they could unify with each other, but at the same time, I haven't seen that much updates from it. So that all depends, man, because it all seems like they're waiting on Canelo most of the time. Because I've heard of that fight that wants to happen, with Canelo versus Makabu. So that's why everybody's like on hold right now with their titles. They're like, oh man, maybe I could sneak in a Canelo fight or something, like maybe he wants to fight for a world title. That's why like they don't want to unify with each other. They're just waiting on Canelo, man. So that all depends. That all depends whether it be at cruiserweight or light heavyweight or even super middleweight, because David Benavidez is still in line. And I still think that David Benavidez would be a good fight for Canelo, but the sooner that it happens, the more chance Canelo has of winning. But down the line, I think David Benavidez is going to get better, and that'll be a lot more of a closer fight than a lot of people think. So, what else? Heavyweight. I mean, I'm already hearing about Joshua versus Usyk. I mean, Joshua versus Usyk is supposed to happen like early next year. Joshua wants to force a contract or something like that. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm probably going to have to do a little bit more research on that bullshit right there because that's another thing that's holding up Undisputed. And I really wouldn't have cared if Joshua won, Wilder won, or if it was Joshua Fury or Wilder Joshua again, like how it was supposed to be a couple years back. Really doesn't matter to me as long as we see an undisputed champion at heavyweight. So it's a whole lot of mess that's going on there too. Let's not ignore that. So and then you have the lower weights, and they're kind of bringing that fuck shit over there too. Where is and a lot of different fighters. The only division that's actually fighting each other down there are 115 and below, and it's quite disappointing because like Inoue was in that division, but he didn't fight any of those contemporaries like Roman Gonzalez or Estrada or even Rungvisai, which is a fight that I wanted to see the most out of anything in boxing. So kind of missed that one right there. So nothing much going on, y'all. I just wanted to do a quick update and rundown on a lot of shit that's going on in boxing. Besides 135 pounds, because everyone loves talking that 135-pound gossip right now, and I'm just not for it. I don't have the energy for that anymore. And normally I have a lot to say about that, but it would have to be in person because what I have to say in this video is probably going to get taken down by YouTube, or some other platform that I try to post it on, because I'll be talking a lot of shit, and I will be talking so much shit that they're going to be like, oh, yeah, he says something there, man. Because I have a lot to say about Teofimo Lopez. I have a lot to say about all these other fighters in different divisions, especially about Lomachenko, especially about Golovkin. Oh my god, man. I just want to tear into their asses for that shit, but YouTube won't let me. The internet won't let me, so might as well just make some videos, keep it short, keep it clean. Well, somewhat clean, because I do cuss a lot most of the time. So appreciate it, y'all. And I'm about to get back to it then. Peace.